Hello and welcome to the In the Pocket podcast. I'm Logan Martin, joined by Max Sturm and Xander Cook. Yes, this is our picks and prediction video. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Comment what you think. Who's gonna win? Spreads, picks, whatever you like. Comment down below. I read all the comments. I edit the videos, so
Give this man his flowers right now. This dude's a dog when it comes to the editing, dude.
we're improving week by week, month by month. We're trying to make this better for you guys. And so we can make this into a career for us. So let's get right into it. We got the Buffalo Bills going into Houston to face the Texans. Houston, number one defense in the NFL. Buffalo, number two offense in the NFL. But Buffalo without Dalton Kincaid, Curtis Samuel is out in this game as well. And this is a tough test. Houston's defense is legit. But Max, I'll let you kick it off with your Buffalo Bills.
It's David and Goliath on both sides of the ball. You've got a fantastic uh a fantastic defense in Houston going up against the Bills who have struggled with their pass catchers. And then on the other side of things, um you've got the Bills defense which is not very great. They've gotten better in the past, but they're going up against a strong defense or a strong offense as of recent with Davis Mills at quarterback, which has kind of been a surprise to me. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how the storyline falls for this game. If you're Buffalo, you saw what worked last week, so you've already scratched Keon Coleman out again this week. So your wide receivers consist of Joshua Palmer, Khalil Shakir, Tyrell Shavers, and Gabe Davis, among a few other guys. But you saw what works. If you get those running backs involved in the pass game, your offense becomes a little bit more dynamic. And so I expect them to use Ty Johnson and James Cook out of the backfield as well in the passing game. Derek Stingley, his job is a little bit harder than you'd think tonight. Logan, you and I talked about it. He's going to have to cover all of these guys at some point because there's no pure number one target tonight. So he will be all over the field. I think Buffalo will take the win in this one. I think the 5.5 point spread is fair. And I say that they're going to win this game 37-27.
Well, yeah, I'll go right into it. Obviously, I mentioned no Kincaid. Bills coming off a huge high, big win against Tampa Bay, and which was a back and forth battle. Even though the Bills won by 12, it was a much closer game than the scoreboard tells you. But they can't afford to drop this one. They can't lose this game. Buffalo's fighting for playoff position right now, home field advantage if that's even in the picture at this point. They're 7-3, so they still have a great record, but they're at the point where they can't get the fourth loss. They can't get the fifth loss. So they need to dig deep and find a way to get the offense going against the Houston defense, which is second in yards per play, first in points per game allowed, first in yards a game. I can see this becoming a defensive battle because I also feel like the running game for Houston is so poor that Buffalo can find a avenue on defense to really, um, limit what the Texans can do. And plus Davis Mills backup quarterbacks in there. Josh Allen last time he played against Houston, he was 9 for 30, 130 yards, one touchdown with a 4.4 average. He was absolutely horrible. Might have been his worst game of his career. They lost that game 23-20. If you don't remember, um, I think it was McDermott called three straight drop back plays in their own territory at the 3 yard line. They ended up punting it. Houston got it and kicked the game winning field goal and won that game. So, and that was in Houston. So now we're talking about an even better Houston defense. But at the same time, Houston's going to have to make Josh Allen put the cape on his back. Josh Allen's going to do that. The 5.5 points is just too much for me when you're talking about the number one defense and the Bills have been spotty. They lost to Miami and Miami. They lost to Atlanta. They've lost to the Patriots. They've been spotty. So give me the defense for Houston, keeping them in this game. Let me not forget to add, like Houston's defense can win the game for themselves. So, but give me Buffalo to win this game because they need to. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston wins this game, but give me Buffalo 24-19. Houston covers the 5.5 point spread.
Yeah, I mean, look, Josh Allen single-handedly beat the Buccaneers with six total touchdowns and he is going to look to continue an MVP rampage from here on out to try and win that division crown. The Texans, meanwhile, have only allowed 163 points this season, which is by far the best in the NFL. The Texans' defense will be able to slow Allen at times, but can their offense keep up? I don't think so. They've looked mediocre with Davis Mills as a starter, and even with Stroud at QB. Last week they needed a game-winning field goal to beat the Titans 16 to 13, and they didn't look good at all until the fourth quarter against the Jaguars too. Yes, the Texans are coming off of two straight wins, but that streak hasn't reached three all year. Now they're playing a high-powered Bills offense coming off of a 44-point performance. I think with Houston's defense, the game will be tighter, but ultimately the Bills are just a better team coming into this matchup. If Houston wants to win, they have to pressure Josh Allen every snap. If you can't make those quick reads or be able to scramble, then Houston can come away with the upset, but I'm taking the Bills 27-24.
So I'm the only one that has them covering then. Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but fair at the same time going up against the best defense in the league right now.
Next game, divisional matchup. Minnesota going into Green Bay. JJ McCarthy facing all the controversy of his quarterback play, his inaccuracy. Does he continue to be inaccurate in Green Bay? Xander, kick it off.
Yeah, this is going to be a defensive duel, in my opinion. The Packers' offense has just averaged over 15 points per game over the last 3 weeks, and the Vikings have averaged just over 18 points per game over the last month. We saw the Packers failed to cover the spread versus the Giants, and then we saw JJ McCarthy and the Vikings special teams melt down versus Chicago. Now, this is a rivalry game. Like we all mentioned, rivalry games are closer in score. Josh Jacobs and Quay Walker are game time decisions into this matchup. Having Josh Jacobs play in this game is crucial for the Packers in order to have that two-game winning streak. In the end, it's just tougher to win in Lambeau, dude. And I'm taking the better quarterback, which is Jordan Love. And on a side note, it is Toyotathon, and Love is historically one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when Toyotathon happens. I'm taking Green Bay 24-20.
Xander, I love that take because the Packers are going to win this game. We have talked so much, frankly, we talked so much shit about Jordan Love over the last few weeks, and I think it's deserved. It definitely is deserved. But there is something about late season Jordan Love that just kind of takes over him, despite whether the Packers are having a great season or having a mid season, they're having a bad season. This year, Josh Jacobs really hasn't been able to get the ground game going for them. So it does rely heavily on Jordan Love this season. Um, and the Vikings have been wishy-washy. You don't know what team you're going to get, especially with JJ McCarthy and how poorly he has played over the last few games since his return. I like the Packers in this one. I feel comfortable taking them with a 30-20 matchup.
Hmm, I like it, man.
So you have him covering the 6 points?
Yep. Toyotathon is
Yeah.
underway.
Wow, man. Yeah.
From here till week 18, it's Jordan Love season,
I'm
baby.
j- I'm just not there. I can't just flip my opinions on Jordan Love just like that. And
I'm not flipping my opinion, but he historically, statistically
no, I'm
plays
not
better
thinking
in the
you.
later season. In
No,
the
I'm
divisional, I think
talking.
he's better about against the divisional opponents.
I've been hating on Jordan Love a little bit, bro. I know you. I know you back him in some spots. I know you're not hating on him. But he's just looked concerning. But as much as he's been concerning, he has no weapons. Josh Jacobs questionable. Will he play in this game? They have no true number one. Talk about all these teams who have like a wide receiver problem, a number one problem. Packers are one of those teams, man. They got a bunch of number twos, and obviously Christian Watson could have developed into a guy like a threat like Jamison Williams, but injuries caught up to him. Tucker Kraft not being on this team too has been a huge knock. You can tell that Tucker Kraft not in the lineup, not playing tight end for the Packers, has been detrimental at times. Green Bay at home allowing 2.6 points in the first half on average. That is ridiculous. Under a field goal allowed in the first half of their games at home. So
That's
this
insane.
and so picture Jay McCarthy on top of that in Lambeau. Um, so I have something written down here. Uh, Green Bay can't pull away ever. Even last week, man, they only win by 7 against the Giants. give me Minnesota +6. Green Bay's going to win this game 23-20. Divisional game, can't let that I can't just let that skirt by because like these divisional games this year have been super close.
Hmm.
So I think Minnesota can cover, but give me Green Bay to win. I just think Josh Jacobs not in and their problem at wide receiver and no Tucker Kraft might be might be enough to maybe even cost them this game. But
Yeah.
give me
So
the
so
card.
real quick, short answers, guys. Was Chris Carter right to say what he said about JJ McCarthy on Twitter this week?
Extremely impulsive. It was an impulsive tweet, in my opinion. You're saying this is his rookie season. He was injured all of last year. This isn't his year two. This is his year one. You can't. This is his rookie year. So, um, shame on you, Chris Carter, coming out here and just trying to take the confidence out of the young kid. This is his rookie year. There's going to be bumps along the way. Caleb Williams has looked bad at times. Like this is his second year, so not everyone gets it figured out. But I will say in the NFL nowadays, it's reaching a point where if you don't figure out the QB situation in a 4-year, 3-year stretch, like Anthony Richardson, they'll move on quick unless you're
Yeah.
getting paid the big bucks.
I'm right there with you. I thought it was a very distasteful tweet. And kudos to his, I think, personal trainer or the QB coach or his
Yeah,
personal,
quarterback
yeah, it was
coach.
his personal quarterback coach for coming out and basically flaming Chris Carter on Twitter for it. Yeah, it was just very distasteful act from him.
I definitely agree. I think you can't judge a quarterback and make those kind of remarks, especially a legend of the team. Uh,
Exactly.
a guy that guys like JJ McCarthy might look up to. It's extremely distasteful. You're a legend of the game. You had your time in the NFL. Don't ruin it for the other guys.
Right. No, I'm on board with that. I like that take, Max. So, yeah, we're all in agreement on that situation. Moving on to the next game, Jets in Baltimore. We've had this conversation before, man. 13.5 points is a lot when you're talking the spread. And we're talking about a Baltimore team. Like the Patriots couldn't even cover the 13.5 point spread. And we know how spotty Baltimore's been. But I will tell you one thing, they're battle tested. They faced the Browns last week. Myles Garrett created chaos in the
He
backfield
went
sack.
stupid, dude.
He had a game, but he's been having those games. It's just they can't get the wins. Not to mention he had that game and they gave the Player of the Week award to Brooks on the Dolphins. And
Because he
and
had 20 tackles. So I kind of get that, but at the
but they
same time,
won. They
Gary
won.
ate it
That's
up.
why they gave it to him. And the
Yeah.
point is like you can't like it's an individual award. You can't base off a team win. So I thought Myles Garrett should have won that. But Tyrod Taylor getting the start for the Jets. 13.5, like I said, a huge number. Baltimore's been spotty all year. The Giants defense is a step down from the Browns defense. Let's be real. The Jets run a lot of man to man. Will this be the week that Lamar Jackson trusts his hamstring and uses his legs? Because think about it, man to man defense, DBs turning their back, running with their man, locking on hip to hip. That just allows everything to open up for Lamar Jackson. Space to run. And with a pass rush that probably won't get there. Maybe because we've seen the Baltimore offensive line not hold up at times. But let's say they don't get there because this pass rush isn't anything special. Let's say they don't get there. But Lamar Jackson's going to have to run if they want to cover this spread. I think 13.5 is too much. Give me the just to cover, but barely, just by the hook. 30-17, Baltimore wins.
Yeah. Is it crazy to say that the Jets are in a better position with Tyrod Taylor as the starting quarterback?
No, we've had this talk before. Tyrod Taylor's a better thrower of the football.
He absolutely is. He doesn't have the mobility anymore. Back when he played for Baltimore and Buffalo, he had that mobility. He doesn't anymore. He's an older guy, but I think he's a more pure passer. He does better under the pressure than Justin Fields does. Justin Fields' instant instinct, as soon as there's more than a three-man rush, is to take off down the field. Tyrod Taylor knows that kind of defense, has experienced it, has taken the hits. He's not afraid of it anymore. That being said, the Ravens will win this game. Lamar Jackson has to have a better game than he did last week. He's playing a much worse defense, obviously. But last week was disgusting from Lamar. Something you never see out of that guy. Maybe his worst game ever. Um, I just think that Baltimore ultimately will get the win. Their defense has improved somewhat since the beginning of the season with guys coming back. And when you have Lamar Jackson against defense that just lost two of their star players to a trade. You're gonna do well. He's gonna win the games that you're supposed to. And so I think that Baltimore wins this one at a comfortable 31-24.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, the Jets have no chance at winning this game if they can't run the ball effectively. And the Ravens defense have given up less than 100 rushing yards per game over the last 5 weeks. And the defense doesn't even have to worry about problems with Garrett Wilson since he's out of this matchup. And they also don't need to worry about Fields' scrambling ability since he was benched in favor of Tyrod Taylor. It's plain and simple. The Ravens have the better run game and they have the weapons that can hurt you in the pass game. This is just another game you don't watch because you know the Jets aren't going to make this a game. I'm taking Ravens 24-10.
So you are the only one with Baltimore covering that big number at 13.5. Respect it. This is an interesting game, and I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about this. We got the Cleveland Browns in Las Vegas. Let me paint the picture. Brown rookie starters, 0-17. Can Shador make it 1-17 in Las Vegas? Las Vegas has motivation.
Las Vegas might be the worst team in the league besides the Titans.
Las Vegas has motivation. They're going against a rookie quarterback. So you got men in the locker room that are gonna put their ego in the way in this game. So they're not gonna let Shador Sanders, all this media hype, all this talk of a third string quarterback, and now he finally gets his opportunity against a bad Raiders defense. Everyone's gonna be betting on the Browns. And the fact that the line's -3.5 in the in the Raiders' favor with all the public money and all the money and all the bets on the Browns tells me that you plug your nose, you close your eyes, you take the Raiders -3.5, and you hope they find a way to get it done. This Browns O line's banged up. Max Crosby's on the other side. They looked horrible on prime time against the Cowboys in pass coverage. What better way to get it right for against the Cleveland Browns? What weapons do they have at wide receiver that are going to burn you like the burn Cowboys did?
Mm.
Hold up, let me say that again. What weapons at wide receiver do the Cleveland Browns have that the Dallas Cowboys have? They don't. So this is a get right spot for this defense for Las Vegas. Like I said, plug your nose, close your eyes, maybe even go to sleep and wake up when the game's done. Take Las Vegas Raiders -3.5.
What's their score?
17-13.
I like it. I like it. This is a game I'm not watching at all. This is going to be a very, 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 very boring game to watch. I can see the Browns defense getting the win against one of the worst offenses in the league. But can Shador Sanders lead the Browns to touchdowns? That's a question I cannot answer. He went 4 of 16 for 47 yards, an interception, and 2 sacks. I think the last time I checked, the point total is at 37.5. I think that's far below than what we're going to see due to how terrible these offenses are. I'm going advantage Raiders solely because it's Sanders' first start. And after that performance against Baltimore, I have no reason to think the Browns can even score touchdowns. I'm taking the Raiders 13-6.
Ooh.
Bust down my AP. Perfect timing. Shador Sanders is getting it done on Sunday.
You're
I
goofy,
think
bro.
I think that they've got it, man. The Raiders, like I said, are one of the worst teams in football besides maybe the Tennessee Titans. Yes, they've got Max Crosby on the other side. Yes, they have Brock Bowers on their offensive side of the ball, but they're going against a top five defense this year and Myles Garrett, who's going to make it hell for
Yeah, that's another
whoever.
thing. He just got 4 sacks last game, 10 over the last 3 games. That dude is going to put belt to ass against them.
Yeah. The Browns win this game in my eyes. I think it's 24-17. Very Brown score.
So, my question to you is what makes you think the Browns can even score 24 points with Shador Sanders and just that entire offense?
I think you've got a week to game plan for Shador Sanders.
He's terrible.
Well,
I
I,
think
I
they're
One
worse.
game, man.
Browns
well,
offense is worse now than it was with Dylan Gabriel. That's not even a hot take. I'm
well,
not
with
going to stamp that as a hot take.
with all the money and all the bets on Cleveland and the line still to be favored towards Las Vegas by more than a field goal, is fishy, just like that Houston line a few weeks ago against the Jaguars when I had Houston, you both had Jacksonville. I'm like, this is fishy because Jacksonville should be favored by 4 or 5, and only favored by 1. Let's be real. The Browns could be a pick 'em in this game. Like this defense is really, really good, and this Raiders offense is really, really bad, and that defense looked really, really bad against the Cowboys. So for the line to be -3.5 is telling me that they're going to harass Shador Sanders and just plug your nose and go against the public. Don't just pick Shador because everyone wants to see him win. He's not going to get this win. It might maybe it happens before the year ends, but
You know what? I
um
will say I love that prediction from Max. We gotta have someone disagreeing with
I
have
that.
told
to.
him, bust down my AP. Perfect timing. It's happening.
So weird.
Steelers at Chicago to play the Bears. Um, 2.5 point line favored towards Chicago. Um, in my opinion, the Steelers are phony. You know, they're 12th in points per game, 24.6, but the 21st in yards per play, the 28th in yards per game, 22nd in pass yards a game, 22nd in completion percentage, 29th in rush yards a game, 28th in rush yards a attempt. And their defensive numbers are very mediocre, not to mention they're getting torched in the pass game. But on the other side, are the Bears' comeback wins sustainable? That's 3 in a row. Minnesota, Giants, and then the Bengals. What Steelers team will we get? Okay. We got a young offense for Chicago versus a banged up D who's old in Pittsburgh. It's literally black versus white. Um, you don't think they're old and banged up?
No, dude, we just scored 2 defensive touchdowns against one of the better offenses in the league over the last month.
Oh man. I mean, I will give you props. I think what they did against the Bengals was promising, but the line is freaking me out, and I was gonna bring it up because it's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like one week Pittsburgh's favored by 3, the next week they're underdogs by 3, and then the next week they're favored, and it all depends on whether they win or lose. It's like they can't make up their mind. It's either one or the other, and that's why we all have sucked picking the Steelers this year because it's been one or the other each week, and we just adjust based on how the line adjusts, and then we it's the opposite. So the line goes back, and then we're wrong again, and it goes back, and it's just a recurring cycle. And here we are again. The Bears are favored by 2.5 versus Aaron Rodgers, who's 25-5 versus the Chicago Bears. They're literally telling you history is not going to repeat itself. But I think the Bears' offense is legit. Subtract all the comeback wins. The run game's pretty good. Caleb Williams has had some bright spots. I haven't liked the Steelers' defense at times this year, so give me Chicago to win this game. They covered the 2.5 spread, barely 26-23.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, the Steelers haven't won in Chicago since 1995. I have not one time in my entire existence, in your entire existence, in Max's entire existence, have the Steelers won in Chicago. And now they could be without Aaron Rodgers, who has that fractured wrist. Now, while the Pittsburgh Steelers have fared better defensively in recent weeks, 5.7 yards per allowed, a 70.6 QB rating, and 60.2 completion percentage rating allowed, their struggles prior to that, almost 285 passing yards per game and passing touchdowns per game allowed, makes me worried coming into this matchup that has Ben Johnson calling plays offensively and Dennis Allen executing beautiful game plans defensively week after week after week. Caleb Williams has done a great job at not turning the ball over, and the Bears' defense has been excellent at creating turnovers, which is why the Bears lead the league at plus 16 in the turnover margin. But the Steelers are in that same category as they are tied in fourth in that category at a plus 8, I believe. I'm expecting either a very clean football game or a very, very sloppy football game due to both those teams being plus 8 or higher in that turnover differential. But I don't have confidence winning a game against a brilliant offensive minded head coach and just a well coached group in general. I'm taking Chicago in this one 20-17.
I don't think Chicago's defense is great. And this is a really tough matchup for me to predict, to be totally honest with you. But I'll keep it real short. I think Chicago wins this one 20-13.
We got Indianapolis in Kansas City to face the Chiefs. Chiefs in desperate times, man. They need to win bad just to be able to make the playoffs. Can't drop another game. Chiefs favored by 3.5 points. Dale Jones outdoors the last 2 weeks. PFF grade of 47. That's last. Passer rating of 76.5. That's like 30 points below his average. And his turnover worthy play rate is 9%. So almost one every 10 plays, he's making a turnover worthy play. That's concerning. Not to mention, it's outdoors, like I said, in a hostile environment in Kansas City. His touchdown interception ratio is 1 to 2. So Kansas City's going to turn this guy over. I think the Colts match up really well against Kansas City. They can run the ball well with Jonathan Taylor, but I just see Daniel Jones fumble in this game and prove why the Indianapolis Colts won't be a good playoff team. Sorry, boys, I'm losing my voice. I'm a B team coach and just got a dub couple hours ago. I'm losing my voice right now. But the Colts are vulnerable in the run. Can DC dial up a run scheme? Andy Reid, he went on an interview and said we are calling the run, but it's getting changed to pass plays, basically calling out Patrick Mahomes. Is that his way of signaling, just calling out Mahomes in a way where Mahomes can see it at home and be like, shit, maybe like I should come into practice something and have a different mindset and think about how I am pre-snap because he's changing everything at pre-snap and then he's holding on to the football and he's getting sacked or nothing's open. And that's what Lou Amarillo is going to want to do. He has the best record out of any defensive coordinator going against Patrick Mahomes. He's famous for just dropping eight back in coverage. And we saw what the Bills did against Patrick Mahomes, dropping everyone in coverage. Patrick Mahomes held onto the ball for like 5 seconds. But yeah, that 3.5. Give me the Colts to cover the 3 points. I just think this is a 3 point game. Give me Chiefs 27-24.
Yeah, I don't see the Chiefs winning this game, and I think Indianapolis is too good. Um, I think that Mahomes can't rely on a rusher. I think he can't. I think he feels like he has to air it out. Kareem Hunt is how old now? He's way past his prime, man. I don't see it being something that's going to be effective against the Colts. You can try and run a little bit just to throw them off, but ultimately you're looking at the pass game. And for that reason, what the Colts have and what they've been doing all year, they're going to keep it riding. I have the Colts winning this one 35-27.
Mm, okay. Yeah, man. I mean, Chiefs are coming off of a gut punch loss to the Broncos, and the Colts have had, what, 2 weeks to prepare for this matchup? This has the makings of being an incredible game between these two teams, in my opinion. The Colts are one of the hottest teams in the league with an 8-2 record, and the Chiefs' playoff window is getting smaller by the second with a 5-5 record. With their playoff hopes hanging on by a thread, I wouldn't want to face Patrick Mahomes. I think desperation will prevail in this matchup. Not to mention the Chiefs are 4-1 at home, and if there's a coordinator that can make Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor look non-existent, it's Steve Spagnuolo, man. The Colts also haven't beaten a team that's 500 or over on the road all year, and now they're coming into Arrowhead. Chiefs 28-20.
Wow, comfortably, comfortably. All right, next game on the board. This is the most public play on the board. Giants in Detroit to play the Lions. Okay. And the fact that it's the most public play on the board scares me. Detroit, after a loss, when they're favored by 4 or more points, they're 8-0 against the spread. And I feel like this is a spot where I might get trapped. And I know it's in Detroit, another hostile environment. They're coming off a loss. So, Detroit's going to they're going to be up.
Mm.
Danny Campbell is not going to have to worry about kicking field goals and going for it. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a game. He might have 200 all-purpose yards,
Dog, I
and
was thinking the same freaking thing.
yeah. But man, Jameis Winston indoors, even on the road, like the way he can block out noise, man. We know how confident he is. We saw him come in and tear teams up on the road, and I feel like this is a game where Jameis Winston throws for 340 yards and has a couple of turnovers, but he has 3 touchdowns. And for that reason, I think the Giants cover the 10.5 points. They lose 31-21. And 80 or more percent of the money and bets are on Detroit to cover and win.
Mm. Well, this is a matchup where we don't know if Dart's gonna play or not, too, because he's in concussion protocol.
I
Didn't
th- I
practice.
think Winston's going to play.
You think Winston's
I
gonna play?
think he is. I might be wrong, but I think he is based on what I've done research on heard.
Okay, okay. I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter. The Lions are coming off of that devastating loss to the Eagles, in which the offense didn't convert on fourth down 6 times and only scored 9 points. The Lions, however, haven't lost back-to-back games all year, and now they're at home against the Giants team with no Neighbors, no Scattaboo, and could be without Thibodeau, Slayton, Adebo, and Jackson Dart. Man, like, dude. Giants also have the third worst run defense in the league, giving up 150 rushing yards per game and the highest yards per carry at 5.5. The Lions defense, on the other hand, has also allowed just 161 passing yards per game with a completion percentage of 57.6 in their last 4 games. I'm expecting Gibbs and Montgomery to combine for 3 or more touchdowns and 180 or more yards. I'm taking the Lions like most people are. I'm taking the Lions with the spread like most people are, 38-16.
I respect that. And my first instinct was to go with the Lions, and then I just thought about it more. I do still like the pieces they have on defense on the Giants. I like Brian Burns. He's been playing great this year. You know, Dexter Lawrence, obviously. Abdul Carter last week, waking up late and missing practice, so he didn't play for a piece of that game last week. So I think fully healthy on defense, they can compete. But this Lions team at home, indoors is just different. And I think this offense is going to have a lot of firepower. Dan Campbell's going to call a lot of touchdowns. So yeah, I'm taking a big chance with that 10.5 point spread. Next game, we got my New England Patriots in Cincinnati to play the Bengals. Joe Burrow been a full participation in both days of practice this week. So that's why we've seen the line go from 8.5 to 6.5. I'm surprised it hasn't gone down more. At least it was 6.5 when I was doing the games earlier around noon. I will double check though real quick because yep, now it's down to 6. Um, so we'll go with the 6. I think Burrow playing this game gives the Patriots more motivation. I'm happy we don't have to worry about Jamar Chase. He's suspended. Don't have to worry about him. T. Higgins is still a dog. But Travion Henderson is going to be a big part of this offense in the run and pass game, and Drake May is going to be comfortable in the pocket. I know it's a public play. I know the Patriots keep on covering. And when are they going to not cover? When's it going to stop? When is the train going to go off the tracks? And ESPN weirdly has New England at a 53% win percentage in this game. Weird. It has Cincinnati at 46%. What are they thinking? Like that makes me scared to pick New England, but I'm gonna pick New England. Like my instinct in this game was to take the Bengals, even without Chase. Like just in the NFL, sometimes you got to think different of what the easy play is in your mind. But in this one, I'm gonna go with extra motivation for the Patriots because Joe Burrow's playing, and maybe he comes out starting a little cold because he hasn't played in a while. Maybe he rushes back a little bit. We don't know. But give me the Patriots to cover and win 28-21.
Mm, I like it. Yeah, the 9-2 Patriots, they've won 8 straight. They own second in the AFC right behind Denver, and a share of the best record in the NFL after brushing off the Jets on Thursday night. Cincinnati's defense gives up 33 points per game. So Drake May should continue his MVP caliber play against a defense that has allowed 254.3 passing yards and 2.6 passing touchdowns per game, with an 8.1 yards per attempt average since week 3. And now Jamar Chase is suspended for this game. So now there's very little chance the Bengals find success to even keep this a one-score game with him out. I'm riding with New England in this one, 33-17.
Taking the same side on that one. I think we'll have the same side on this next one too. Seattle in Tennessee, bounce back spots for Seattle. I think there's a chance that Tennessee scores 0 points in this game.
Out,
So
yeah.
I'll leave it. I'll make it short. Give me Seattle to win this game 33-3. Give me a 3-3-3 score. Seattle covers the 12.5 point spread.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans are gearing up for that number one overall pick, and I think they'll stick to that course after this matchup. Cam Ward is facing a Seattle defense that has one of the highest pressure rates at almost 24% and sack rates at 8%, all while having the fifth lowest blitz rate, dude. This is a game where we shut it off before halftime. Seattle's looking to rebound after a mistake-filled performance against the Rams, and what better way to do that than going into Nashville? Smith and Jigba is going to have a fucking feast against that secondary. There's literally not one defender that can remain within 2 to 4 yards of him. Seattle wins this one by a landslide, 38-6.
Both got blowouts, man. I love it. Public play, but come on, what do you expect? Sam Darnold's gonna flip what he did. 4 turnovers. Yeah, he's gonna have 4 touchdowns, no turnovers this week. Jaguars in Arizona. Okay. This is an interesting one. Jaguars 2-2 on the road. Cardinals 1-4 at home. Odd. We saw them beat the Cowboys on Prime, um, in a prime time spot. But now they're home. They're 3-7 facing the 6-4 Jaguars, and the spread's only 3. The line's telling you that the Cardinals are going to be competitive in this game. No Marvin Harrison. You think Jacoby Brissett gives a shit? Like he threw for 57. He threw 57 passes last game. He's 47 for 57. Think he cares that Marvin Harrison is playing? No. Not to mention, was it Michael Wilson at 180 yards? They're going to be throwing all over the place. Not to mention Travis Hunter's been out. Going to be a public play. Take the Jaguars and feels a lot like last week when I took the Chargers against the Jaguars. Same
Hmm,
spot. So give me the Cardinals to win this game at home, 24-20.
dude, I've been thinking about this game all day. It's so 50-50 for me. Are the Jaguars a good team? Are they not as good as the record suggests? Dude, like, look, a 35-6 win over the Chargers was fucking impressive. We can all give the Jaguars their flowers after that performance. What's not impressive is Trevor Lawrence. In the last 2 weeks, he's averaging, I believe, 152 and a half yards per game, and he threw a touchdown and interception in both games. But now he's facing a Cardinals defense that gives up over 220 passing yards per game. Arizona had been a gritty team this season, but that isn't the statement anymore after they've been outscored 85-44 in the last 2 games. And like you mentioned, Logan, they're also 1-4 at home this year. The Jags should be able to use that victory over the Chargers in this matchup, considering the Cardinals are becoming worse and worse as the weeks go on. The Jaguars have the better defense, besting Arizona in yards allowed, rushing yards allowed, and points allowed. So, in my opinion, this is going to be a tight game for the most part. You're not going to see Jacoby Brissett throw 57 passes in garbage time like he did against San Francisco. Um, the Jags pasty is I saw this stat. It's a mind-blowing stat. The Jags pass defense is the worst at covering tight ends, and Trey McBride is having a top 5 tight end year this season. That's bad news. Jacoby Brissett is going to be looking to feed McBride all day long if that's the case. But at the end of the day, uh, I hate I hate this pick, and I'd hate it if I had Cardinals. But I'm taking Jaguars 28-27.
My mind says Cardinals, but my heart says Jaguars.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with what my mind says.
Not
Because
sticking to your gut?
no, I've stuck to no sticking to my gut is taking the Jaguars to beat the Texans when they're only 1.5 point favorites. That's sticking to my That would have been sticking to my gut. No, you gotta. I'm trying to like think too much. That's why I'm saying I'm using my mind. Like I'm overthinking it to the point where I'm like, yeah, I probably should think against what the
Dude, and
normal person would
this is
think.
one of those games where you're going to overthink. You don't
Right,
know what team is going to win because this is
right.
such a 50-50 game.
And I think this next game's gonna be like that too. We got the Eagles in Dallas to play the Cowboys in a divisional game. Philly's favored by 3.5 points. I don't know, man. I will say the defense for Dallas looked pretty good last week. I mean, it's the Raiders, but like
Yeah.
Quentin Williams looked good. He had a sack and a half. The guys were going all over the place, but that was their game that they played for Marshawn Nealon. Now
Mhm.
this is a divisional game. This is like, okay, now we got to move on. This is okay. We got the win. We rode that high. Now we got a big opponent. Probably the best team in our division by far. Coming into town. We got to handle business. 3.5 points is probably right around where I'd have it, honestly, because the Dallas offense is so explosive, but the Eagles defense is so good. And the Eagles offense has been spotty. I don't really. This is the one game I've really had problems with because for some reason, I feel like this is a field goal game. And with all those trades, maybe Dallas has like a different vibe in house.
Mhm.
Give me the Eagles to win this game. It's not going to be pretty, but they win 24-20 and cover that 3.5 point spread.
Yeah. Uh, this Eagles defense has allowed two total touchdowns in the last two games, and they were against opponents that have been above average offenses, in my opinion. So who's to say Dallas will fare much better than the Packers and Lions? And then you look at the Cowboys defense. They're allowing 381 yards per game, including 250 through the air. And yeah, you could go back to week one. Sure, they held Hurts in check through the air, but he also scored two touchdowns on the ground. And man, this Eagles defense is freaking elite, dude. It is so elite. I was wrong on them to say, hey, they're going to lose a step beginning of this season, losing all those key players. They honestly might be just as good, if not better, this season. And you look at the Cowboys defense, they're just bad. So I got to ride with Philly in this one. They're wearing their Kelly green uniforms. This is going to be a statement win for them, 30-20.
Who, Philly?
Mhm.
Ooh, statement. So you kind of going now you're backing the Eagles. I like it, bro. These Eagles are good, bro. That defense is legit. If not the Texans, it's the Eagles. I think you could make a case that the Eagles have the best defense in the NFL.
I think
After what
you
I
could.
saw last week, I think they might be one and Texans are two, but I do think the Texans are really, really good. I did say they were one in this video, but if I talked about the Eagles first, I would have said the Eagles had the best defense and Houston has the second best. So yeah, give me this defense to just force Brandon Aubrey to have to be a factor in this game.
I
Next
like it.
game, divisional game again. Falcons, Atlanta in New Orleans to play the Saints. Here, like if I'm Atlanta, man, like Raheem Morris is playing for his job at this point, especially with no first round pick next year. So, and Kirk Cousins is playing for to, you know, have a contract next year or he's gonna have to be done. So, Falcons are gonna have to step up. Um, dude, these games, these three games, Jaguars, Cardinals, Eagles, Cowboys, and Falcons, Saints are so hard to predict, and it's telling because they're all within 3 points. So I don't know, man. This is a I don't know game. Um, give me the Falcons to get it done. Bijan Robinson's going to be a factor. They get the upset. They win outright. 21-18. Gross game.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, the Falcons season is coming to a gruesome close. They allowed 448 yards through the air to Bryce Young, and now they just lost Michael Penix Jr. for the year. Yes, losing Penix seems like it's not bad considering his struggles, but now they have to play Kirk Cousins, who just isn't a good quarterback anymore. Now their season is on life support at what, 3-6, 3-7. Now you have to play Kirk the rest of the year. Like I said, gruesome close for their season. The Saints defense has played pretty well as of late, and we can't say the same for the Falcons. Tyler Shuck in his first start came against the Panthers. Mind you, Falcons lost 30 to nothing and then 30 to 27 in overtime to the Panthers. Uh, the Saints defense only gave up 7 points that game as well. The Superdome is going to be loud for this game. Rightfully so, considering this could be a second straight win in what's pretty much been a miserable year in New Orleans. I like the Saints in this matchup, 20-16.
I like it. I think the score that I gave out 21-18 and 20-16 is just going to be how
Yep.
whoever wins, that's going to be a score like that, I feel like. So, And usually these 4 p.m. slates on Fox with a Falcons Saints game is perfect for 20 to 17, twenty
Right.
sixteen game. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like that. This is the game of the night to me.
Oh,
Okay.
I can't wait for this one.
Dude. And the fact that it's 7 points is disrespectful. You got the Rams at home against the Buccaneers, favored by 7 points. Bro, I'm looking at I'm looking at a depth chart.
I was,
Everyone on the
dude,
Bucks is
because
injured.
what
Everyone on the Bucks is injured.
I was, dude,
What?
when you were saying all that, I'm like, oh fuck, he's so cooked. Because what I have for notes, I'm like, oh shit.
Bro, dude, I'm looking at, no, I'm glad I looked at the depth chart, bro. I have 5 pages of notes and I stopped taking notes at the Dallas Eagles game. So, but like, yeah, give me the Rams cover that 7 point spread. Give me Rams 30 to 20.
I like it. I am right there with you, brother. I did look at the injury report beforehand, and look, this would be a different story for the Bucks if that wide receiver group was healthy. Fuck, if their whole team was healthy. But they're not. Baker needs his weapons to compete against arguably the best defense in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers defense has been exposed in consecutive weeks against the Patriots, 435 total yards, and the Bills, 414 total yards. Now they're heading into a primetime matchup against the Rams. Stafford has been the best QB all year. He's first in big time throws, first in passer rating, and has 27 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions. Puka Nakua can create yards after catch. Devontae Adams is having a great season. Parkinson is having a good year. Kyron Williams can have 120 or more yards any given Sunday. Yeah, man, this is going to be hard for the Buccaneers to win, especially against a defense that's second in the league in points allowed per game. I'm covering with the Rams, 34-24.
Both got a 10 point win, pretty close to what we both had. For someone who flipped their pick after they looked at the depth chart and saw 20 people either on IR out or questionable. So yeah, give me the Rams. Yeah. And I want to get well, I think actually I predicted last week perfect with the CL Seahawks and the Rams, but for some reason I thought I was bad with the Rams. But anyway, Panthers, 49ers, Monday Night Football. 7 points, man. That seems like a little too much. The Panthers been getting disrespectful lines because they keep finding a way to cover and get it done. Um, Carolina, like we've seen Rico Dowdle look really, really good, and recently he hasn't really been as much as a factor. Ted McMillan looks great. Xavier Legette had a boost of confidence after last week with 83 yards and a touchdown. I'm actually guessing how many yards he'd had. I'd be actually pretty impressed if I got that right on the dot. But anyway, he looked impressive. Like watching the tape back. Yeah, he had 83 yards. I guess that's crazy. Um, Ted
Dang.
McMillan, Tech McMillan, and Xavier Legette, dude, they look great. And if they can continue that, I think they cover 7 points. This 49ers defense, don't forget they're banged up. Yeah, Robert Saleh has pulled a rabbit out of his ass with this defense and what they've been able to do, blowing these two teams out back to back weeks, divisional matchups. But the Panthers. Come on, man. You're disrespecting the Panthers. They're win against the Dolphins, win against the Cowboys, win against the Jets, lost against the Bills, win against the Packers, lost against the Saints, win against the Falcons, and you're giving them a 7 point spread against a banged up defense. Either I'm a fool or I'm freaking right. Give me the Panthers to win this game outright, 27 to 24.
Oh no. I'll tell you why the spread is 7. Yes, Carolina has somehow found ways to win games. There's some devil magic going on in those games they've won. All right. I'm going to be that guy that continues to disrespect them. This is why. They're 26 in total DVOA, 26 in net yards per play, 26 in EPA per play, and 24th in opponent EPA per play. Now they have to face a 49ers team that is starting to get healthy and whose offense looked unstoppable with Brock Purdy back under center in week 11 against the Cardinals. I think, honestly, with the Niners getting healthy, it's time we stop overlooking them. And this is an extremely favorable matchup against a Panthers team who is way worse than their record shows. This is also CMC's first game against his former team, so you know the game plan will be centered around him. He has 1,400 total yards on the year, and he's going to look to continue his Offensive Player of the Year caliber season against the Panthers. I'm happy the Panthers have a primetime game, but they're getting blown out. 49ers 36-20.
Yeah, maybe I am a fool. We'll find out though on Monday Night Football because this and the Raiders are the two grossest picks I have. Um, yeah, man, I feel like the books are just way off of this Carolina Panthers team, and Max hit the nail on the head when they're 3.5 point underdogs and they went outright. So give me a gritty Carolina team in a spot they are not usually in. Monday Night Football, make it happen now if you want a playoff spot. So, but yeah, and that division's wide open, especially with how Tampa Bay's been playing. So come on, man. I shouldn't say come on, man. Like I'm just saying, like come on,
Come
man.
on,
Come
man,
on.
dude. That's
They're
actually
locked in. They're
it's
locked in.
fun. ESPN Monday Night Football. They always do "Come on, man" during that shit.
Right, man. This is the In the Pocket podcast. We appreciate you guys turning in. I'm Logan Martin. That's Sandra Cook. Peace, guys.
All right, so sorry for the early exit. Bills games are a family event for me, and so was watching it with my family on the phone, and we're all wallowing together now. But anyway, let's talk about the rest of these games. Starting first with the Patriots versus the Bengals. This is going to be an interesting game because you don't have Jamar Chase, but you potentially have Joe Burrow coming back. This is going to be a closer game than a lot of people think. 7.5 points. Can the Patriots do it? Yes, I don't think they do, though. I still think they get the dub. They are the better team. I hope they lose, but I think that they will win. Give me a 30-24 score on that. Going down the line now, Giants at the Lions. Guys, this is an easy game. Lions, even with the 10.5, they're getting it 41-13. They're getting back on track after that terrible loss last week. Moving down the line, Seahawks with a 13.5 point spread over the Titans. Titans can't cover. The Titans cannot cover, and so the Seahawks will win this one. It's another big blowout game. Give me 35-7. Jaguars Cardinals 2.5 point spread for the Jaguars. I think that the Jaguars are the better team. They've been getting some consistency back recently. But the Cardinals always find a way to keep it close. So I have this one going the Jaguars' way, and I have them winning 17-14. Going even further down the line, Eagles at Cowboys. 3.5 point spread. You never know, man. The Eagles' offense has been so inconsistent. But I've got the Eagles still winning this one over the Cowboys. It's going to have to be a high-scoring game if the Eagles want to win. And actually, yes, I'll keep it the same. I think that the Eagles win this one 27-24. Falcons Saints 1.5 point favorites for the Saints, actually. This is a tough game. Divisional matchup in New Orleans. I like the Saints in this matchup. Give me the Saints to win 21-17. Buccaneers Rams game of the week. Rams 6.5 point favorites. I don't think it should be that high. I think this one comes to a 33-30 win for the Rams. Lastly, we've got the Panthers and San Francisco 49ers. Panthers are going to be in this one, man, and I think that they win again. Give me the Panthers to win this one 24-23.